All right, guys, welcome back to another live episode of Muscle Discord. Live reaction to some more news that's come out today. Now, Milos spoke on the Menace podcast last week. This aired after the Arnold UK, and he had a lot to say. Okay. And then today, also, Samson Dauda came out with an official post thanking Milos for the work he's done with him. And he also thanked Marlena. And I kind of find it funny that he did it on the same day, but he thanked Marlena first. Then 4 hours later, came out with a post on his Instagram profile thanking Milos. So we're going to run through this, guys. There's a lot to talk about. Just how much cardio Samson was doing. We found out about that. Finally, that was answered. So you're going to have to watch into this video to find out. So much is happening, guys. Thank you for joining me. I'm starting to do these live reaction videos. I love doing them because you're able to chat with me. We're able to discuss and live react together on what's going on in the bodybuilding community. That's what Muscle Discord is all about. And thank you guys, all of you guys that joined me for the live stream for the Arnold UK, where we had 2,500 people here in the chat with me. It was so many people. It was awesome. So I'm loving it. And I'm loving you guys for your support. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please like the video. All right, so we're going to start off here. You know the routine. I press play and we watch, and then I pause and I have a reaction to what's being said and what's going on. And you guys can jump in too. So let's just start it off here.
It's news. We want to. A lot of fans. Listen, this is for the fans that's listening. Last week when we filmed the podcast on Tuesdays and we air it on Sundays. So, because a lot of people, I see in the comments, people saying that, Milos must have some great control of, except to keeping it in. I said, listen, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know, and I think Milos didn't even know at the podcast that this was happening. I think that's something that he found out right after. So that's why we didn't talk about this last week, and we actually talked like everything was still back to normal. The only thing that Chris brought up last week was that he mentioned in the video that he might not be doing the UK because he's going to the hospital and he's going to let the doctor determine if he's going to compete or not. Only to find out after, and actually on the farewell message that Milos sent with the video of Samson, and basically wished him all the best, which I know he is. He wished him all the best. And then Fuad, I remember I seen a comment of Fuad, and he mentioned it a couple of times. Says that he was not in the hospital, he's not sick, and he's not retiring. Something similar to that. I'm not 100%. Don't quote me 100%, but that's what it meant. So he was not in the hospital. Milos, have you talked to him since the Arnold in Columbus at all?
I never talked to him ever since Saturday.
So I'm going to pause it there because that's a big reveal right there. And you can see Chris Cormier's reaction to that, where Milos says, I haven't talked to him since the Saturday night of the Arnold Classic Ohio, which is over 2 weeks ago. Hasn't spoke to him. Now, again, this was before, just roughly maybe the Tuesday before the Arnold UK, right? When this video aired here with Dennis. And the fact, weren't they close? Weren't they like family? And then Samson's going to drop his coach, going to fire him online through his Instagram stories, not text. This is after the Sunday after the Arnold, Ohio, where Samson goes on his Instagram stories and says, my body's failing me. People are humiliating, disrespecting my family. And then he says, I'm not working with Milos anymore. Marlena's going to be doing my prep for the Arnold UK. And during all that, he hasn't spoke to Milos. He hasn't replied to a text. That's really, really disrespectful, okay? And doesn't show a good side to Samson right there. I just want to point that out. There was no talk back and forth between them. And then Milos finds out, just like we all found out, that he was fired. right? So Milos finds out he's fired, so then he has to make a post professionally on his Instagram account saying, "Hey, you know what? This was the final night. This is our last, show together, and it was great working with you. Blah blah blah." And it was done. So it's just really like now we see how it all kind of came to light, and it's not a good look. Again, Milos looks like the better man in this scenario.
Ever since Saturday, he never called me. I did when I saw that message. I texted him right away, and he responded that he's okay. And then shortly after, I got another text message explaining that he thanked me for everything that we did so far, but he's ready to start something new and try something new. So that's the extent of it. Of course, you can imagine when you have here's Abdullah. Hey, Abdullah, turn the light on.
Yeah, Abdul.
So I want to read some of your comments. Samson has no morals or scruples. It's sad letting his wife control his life. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about how Samson looked at previous shows versus his Arnold UK show where his wife prepped him. Double M says he's been caught in many lies recently. Prayman says Hattie's very, very best in the stage, Arnold UK USA, but no problems. Yeah. So it's just, again, guys, a bad look so far from what we're finding out with Milos and Samson and how they split. Now let's go. There's a whole bunch of different topics in here. I want to just jump to them so we don't have to watch the whole thing. Okay, here we go.
And see how much he evolved. And you all know that Samson is most improved athlete in the last 2.5 years. And really,
I think 3 years. He's the best Moroccan bodybuilder.
Yeah. So I mean, that's where it's at. And you know how it is when you're competitive and you want more, you get your disappointment. So I think that was emotional and physical response, and he just he was flying back to England, and God knows how it is. But as we all know, he's right back on track. He's doing the Arnold Classic. He has aspirations to beat Harry, and he has that potential.
Yeah, but listen, if you make a video
Mhm.
and he sounded like he was literally like, I don't know, he almost looked like he was crying.
Yeah.
In that video. I looked at that video very closely, and he's telling his fans and all of us that his body is failing.
Yeah.
He's going to the hospital. How can you go from my body's failing, I need to go to a hospital and let the doctor determine if I'm doing the show or not, to not even going to the hospital and being okay?
Because this generation is in their feelings first, and it's not the real reality of the situation.
Mhm.
You get in your feelings, you're hurt, you didn't win. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Milos is a damn good fucking coach. He puts his heart and his fucking life invested in someone else's life.
Yeah.
He already had his own journey. Now he's on other people's journey.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the day, no, wait. At the end of the day, everybody knows the date of the show. The competitor knows the date of the show. It is your responsibility to keep your ass in shape. He can tell you what to do. He can guide you. This is what I want you to do and what I want you to look like. At the end of the day, you got to work your ass off. Did Hadi look like he worked his ass off? Hadi look like he worked his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
And how you gonna blame somebody else when this guy brought you so much cachet, so much abundance of everything, anything anyone can do, you improve so much. How do you not continue with that guy?
Oh, okay, so, but I don't know, I haven't heard Samson blaming,
Well, I'm not saying, you took
but I see what you're saying, and I like the Chris Cormier of today, man. Today, you speak up, man. I like that. Because here's the thing.
Thank you.
Here's the
It's
thing.
true.
Yeah, I know you're right. You're right. Here's one thing that Abdullah, we can hear you. Here's one thing that bothered me a little bit. We're all coaches. I'm not no more because I'm tired. I've been tired of this shit. But we all been in situations where you say, what the fuck am I doing here?
Mhm.
Here's what I don't understand for real, because I know how hard, how invested Milos is with his athletes. Not only Samson, all of his athletes. You know what I'm saying? So I know how many hours or when he doesn't sleep all night because the show is somewhere else in the world. I know for a fact because I talked to Milos. We almost on the phone watching the live stream together. And when Samson came out, because I don't know, maybe that's just something that I would do, but I would maybe expect at least a thank you from Samson to Milos in public. Like, listen, Milos,
Yeah,
got
man.
me where I'm at. I mean, I quit my job. I fucking buy McLarens. I can do this and I can do that. I can live a life now that I never thought I can.
That's true.
So whose fault, or not whose fault, who helps you though to get there somewhat? Now, he makes a video and he thanks his wife for
Yeah.
peeking him in Romania and Prague.
So let's start there again, guys. Dennis is speaking facts. Chris is speaking facts. What Samson did was a big slap in the face, because not only did he fire Milos after he lost the Arnold, Ohio, he went on his stories and thanked his wife for bringing him the best peaks in Romania in the Prague shows. Why even mention that right after you fire Milos? Again, this is how Samson is thinking. And then Milos is sitting there getting pushed to the ditch, watching his stories and seeing how, oh, Marlena, my wife, did such a good job for me for the Romania and the Prague Pro. She prepped me for those shows. Like, why did you have to talk about that? Why did you even have to mention that? Again, let's continue.
Never once mentioned Milos. So what does that mean? Is his wife his coach?
It don't mean much of nothing, because
I'm trying to understand the message that we get in here. He said, here's my new coach, and she's the one that peaked me for Prague and Romania, where supposedly we all say that was his best version.
my son could have picked someone after you did it.
I got you.
I prepared Samson before, and I know that Samson wife is a great coach. He do with Samson before from beginning, and I know him is the.
I don't know, because what Chris Cormier is saying there is like, my son could peak Samson for the show. It's like 5 days to peak. Like, what about all the work that led up to the peak? And so what is she riding off of Milos' coattails while Milos, transforms Samson's physique over the last 2.5 years, and then she peaks him 5 days for a show, and then she takes credit for it? That's what Chris Cormier is calling out right there.
Have a good relationship with Samson.
Okay, what do you mean a great coach? You see, she's training athletes for how many years?
Athlete from British. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Let me talk about some of the chat here, guys. Okay, let me scroll up here. So, Patron, the best thing about their podcast is knowledge about. Yeah, Chris does drop the knowledge bombs. Double M, I'm not the biggest fan of Milos fan, but Samson really dodged him out. Yeah. Patron, Chris is low-key the most knowledgeable man in bodybuilding. I agree. Douglas, Samson's behavior shows a level of shallow self-centeredness that one could sense all along, and now is being shown. I agree with that. In many ways, his wife mirror each other. Yeah, they do. You can kind of see that they're dynamic together. Jet, Chris spitting facts. Comments here. No problem here. The coach Samson mission appeared. Word disappeared. Okay. Douglas again. Samson mentioned that about his wife because he knows damn well that he didn't do enough to get the level of conditioning. That call was entirely his wife's. Yeah, I could see that. Look at his wife's body language in all of the videos. Never see her smile, and she looks. I'm not going to get personal about how she looks, but you guys, you can take that opinion there. we see how she looks. Samson will speak up eventually. We just saw the flaw in his personality. Arnold, Ronnie had it. Nobody's perfect. No one's perfect. And you know what? You're right. We do get to make mistakes and correct ourselves from those mistakes. But this seems to be kind of an ongoing thing. And I'm going to get into that later because he made a post about saying thank you to Milos today. But before he thanked Milos publicly on his Instagram, he thanked his wife first. So he did another kind of slap in the face to Milos.
I think Scorecard, I think you have a gold medal. I think he's good coach from Samson from beginning, from day one.
Mhm.
And after this one, I prepare Samson from too short when Samson is growing. Then Samson break go England. Then he want to come Kuwait. But I have team with me, and I meet with the team, the head of the team. And I told him I want Samson break come to Kuwait. He said no. Now enough. I have Rolly, I have Brandon, and I have.
Yeah, Abdul kind of goes on here.
Hey man, why are you taking credit for something you didn't do? And she picked him, and I said, let's put this in perspective. Yes, along the way when I met Samson, he contacted me after John Meadows died, and there was like 7 weeks before the Arnold UK 2021. He basically sent me a message. John spoke very highly of you, and he told me if you ever gonna go with any other coach, he wants you to go with Milos. So when he contacted me 7 weeks out, can you help me? I said, of course. In memory of John. John is a great friend of mine. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. And needless to say, he plays second to Nathan Diasha, very close, 1 point difference. And then, as with every athlete that I have, I said, look, there are all these other shows. Next week, he go to Italy, following week to Egypt, following week to Prague, and then Romania. So 5 shows back to back to back. Needless to say, he plays top 3 in all of them. He could have won possibly, 2 or 3 of them easily, more, but doesn't matter. He started making improvements. Everything was great. And of course, Marlena, his wife, was not his coach. It was his wife. If she was coaching him before, which I found out that was the case, of course, she gave it to, I guess, Abdullah. I didn't know that you coach him too. He went to John Meadows, and then I took the role of a coach, and I was coach all the way through. As you mentioned, Dennis, Romania and Prague, we were live streaming. I had to stay up all night because 9-hour difference. And I just mentioned 2021, 5 shows. What do you do between the shows? You finish the show, you go low carb days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then you carb up or just bring up the carbs and then manipulate the water 5 times in a row. So they had the blueprint of everything. Then
So what Milos is saying is like, he gave them the blueprint. They did it 5 times in a row. He showed them how to peak, right? And then Marlena, just copies that and does it on her own, right? So let's continue here.
I go 2022. The goal was to possibly top 10 at Olympia. He plays top 6, exceed his expectations, growing, improving, becoming one of the best. Then we go to 2023. As I said, he won 3 out of 4 shows that he entered, right, together with me. So for me to first hear that he ended up in a hospital, and people would 2 and 2 together and say, oh yeah, you put him in the hospital.
There you go. There's another kind of sad part of this is that people blamed Milos because of the speculation that Samson put out in his stories by saying, my body is failing me. I think I'm going to have to go to the hospital. And then he fires Milos. It just made Milos look really bad. Like I get you get to make mistakes, like the other commenter said in the chat, but this was a bad mistake. This was like, you got to think a bit more clearly. This is your coach. This guy changed your life. And this is how you're treating him. It was just really bad.
Guys, no bodybuilder on that stage doesn't have some level of dehydration. It's expected for us to be dry. Dry more than normal, therefore somewhat dehydrated. There was never a case in any of the shows, 13 shows that I worked with Samson, that he was cramping, that he was feeling dehydrated and, in potential danger.
Yeah.
We all had
Yeah, of course.
we all had instances of some athletes going a little bit too far, but needless to say, there was none of that. I think there was a lot of emotional content behind these words. But then when he pointed out that Marlena picked him for these two shows, which we were at this point a team, that's Samson's wife and a cook, and all goes through discussion between three of us. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. It makes me look super bad and questionable,
Yes.
right?
There, right there. It makes Milos look super bad and questionable on what he's doing for Samson.
So I pick you for the Olympia, then she pick you for this too, then I pick you again for this one. How that works? I never had a chance to discuss this with him, and but thank God this is not going to be a run before the UK. So after the UK, probably he's going to be in a different state of mind that we could possibly talk.
Yeah.
And what was that all about?
Question for Abdullah. Question.
Wonder why it was even said.
Hold on, Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
Question for you. Does it work to have two coaches?
No.
No, it doesn't.
Chris,
No.
it's different if one coach is a nutritionist and everything else and one trains you. That's different.
Well, I mean,
But you have
people
two coaches. Two coaches, even if it's two great.
So I think they kind of just continue on there. So we're going to jump to the next section, but let me read some of the comments in the chat. Double Ed, most bodybuilders are extremely selfish. It goes with the territory, but at least respect the guy that brought you up to the next level. I don't understand why he won't give Milos credit. I don't know. Is it Marlena, kind of not wanting to give Milos the credit? Because the fact that she takes over his peak week, you don't trust Milos, right? And I'm all up for, if Milos wasn't able to get Samson Dauda Strider glutes for the shows that he prepped and peaked him for, fine. I even said maybe it's time for Samson to find a new coach, right? But this disrespect, and then why she was stepping in when Milos has way more experience as a coach, as an athlete than she does. The fact that Samson would take his wife's experience over his for peaking, which is almost the most important part of it, is the 5-day peak before a show, says a lot about Samson and his thought process through this. Obsessive Hobbyist says Samson definitely lost some fans this past week. I agree with that. I've had people reach out to me saying, I was a big fan of Samson, but now seeing this, I'm not sure about him. That's not good. Taking profit. He got snappy with fans' questions and why he didn't thank Milos. Yeah. Said, why does everything have to be done publicly? He's constantly praising it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Good point there, taking profit. Douglas, it shows low character. Pressure doesn't make the man. It reveals what a man is made of. Very true. Andrew, I really want to give the benefit of the doubt because I liked Samson, but come on, like Milos is a coach, a client, an advocate. This isn't an acceptable way to hang things up as a professional. No, it's not. It's very unprofessional. And again, you guys, as I said before, if you haven't seen that, Marlena, his wife, DM'd me on Instagram and personally attacked me. I hate to keep saying it, but this is relevant to what's going on in this, the vibe, the scenario between him and his wife and how they act and how they're treating people. It's not a good look. And for you guys who don't know, Samson blocked me, right? And I guarantee you it's Marlena who said, block this guy. And right after she personally attacked me on my Instagram, after I critiqued his conditioning and the fact that I see gyno coming through, she messaged me, right? And then I went to Samson's profile. I was blocked, but I wasn't blocked by her yet. Right. Then, and I said in my critiques that, Samson's going to lose to Arnold, Ohio. He's not in shape. He's not going to beat Hottie. She got mad. She attacked me. I got, the screenshots of that. I won't show it, but she went there. He lost, as I predicted. Then she blocked me because she probably didn't want to hear from me after that because I was right. She was wrong. So let's go on to the next section here. All right.
Emotional content behind his words. But then when he pointed out that Marlena
we went to this one already.
picked him for these two shows, which
I want to go to the part about cardio.
Join the team. That's Samson's wife and a cook, and all goes through discussion between healers. We're going to do this. We're going to do.
There we go.
But it's still up to them to fucking train as hard as fuck and cardio hard. And I know a lot of guys.
I think the biggest issue is the cardio, that most people don't do the cardio, the amount of cardio they need to do. Some people, they just praise themselves by saying, oh, I only do 30 minutes. Yeah, well.
That's not enough.
Maybe you should do 4 times 30 minutes.
Guys, in the chat, how many minutes of cardio do you think Samson was doing for his prep? In the chat, what do you think he was doing? I want to see this because I was not surprised when Milos gave the answer, which you're going to hear. Guys, if you haven't already, if you're new to the stream, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. I really appreciate you guys joining me. Taking Profit says he does 30 minutes. Okay. Any more guesses as to how much cardio Samson Dauda was doing for the Arnold prep? Okay, so you're going to hear Milos say, we got a couple more guesses here. Mike says 30 slow ass minutes. Gravy says 40 minutes. So Samson was doing 30 to 35. Douglas says 30 to 45 max. So Milos says Samson was doing 1 hour of cardio. Right? 1 hour. There's your problem. That's not enough. It's not enough. Ronnie Coleman was doing 2 hours. Jay Cutler was doing 2, sometimes 3 hours. Hadi Chupin was doing 3 hours, sometimes for the Arnold, Ohio, and the Arnold, UK. And you can see the difference there. So Samson is not putting in the work that he needs to do to get striated glutes. It's as simple as that. And I'm glad finally Milos came out and said, this is how much cardio he was doing. He can have striated glutes, but he's afraid to, or Marlena's saying, no, you can't do this much. You're going to lose your size. You're going to get smaller, blah, blah, blah. It's strange, guys. It's strange.
I do cardio every day, 100 minutes. One time, 100 minutes.
See, I mean,
But it's not.
at the end of the day, look, Hadi supposedly did 3 hours a day.
And he doesn't. Pretty much when you look at him.
If you would have told me back then, you need to do 3 hours, I would do 3 hours.
Yeah, that's enough, right?
I wouldn't even I wouldn't ask no questions. I was doing 2 hours to begin with.
Yeah.
I remember sometimes right after the show, I get back on the treadmill, I do 2.5, 3 hours at one time. Boom.
I would do sessions if I had a cheat meal. If I had a donut, I'm doing 3 sessions.
But that's a guilty damn cardio. No.
Like in the morning, after my workout.
Milos, how much cardio does Samson do?
An hour.
He does an hour a day?
There it is.
Yeah, maybe he should do 2 hours.
Exactly.
This kind of things. And Chris, lately, every time we mention you.
Okay, now now Milos starts poking fun at Chris Cormier because Chris Cormier has put on a lot of weight, right? So now they just start joking. But it's just like, and another thing too, when I was watching Samson's stories leading into the Arnold UK, he said he came on his stories like, "Oh, guys, my final cardio session, I'm done. It's Wednesday morning, I'm done. So happy I'm done my cardio." I'm like, "You're stopping cardio the Wednesday before the show on Friday evening?" I was like, "Dude, you need to be doing cardio all the way up to Friday morning at the minimum." Right? Most athletes do that just to keep the body pumping. You're eating all these carbs, you're starting to carb load. You don't want to stop doing cardio and then stop, force all this food into you. And just, it doesn't work that way. And we're going to look at Samson's physique compared to some other shows here and say, was this his best look at the UK where Marlena peaked him, right? So let's look at the post he made today with his wife. Before he thanks Milos publicly, he thanked his wife 17 hours ago. After one amazing weekend at the Arnold Classic UK, I can now take a pause, a breath, and say, wow, thank you to the lady of the moment, the love of my life, and the star of the show, Marlena. Through everything from day one, you have stayed with me by my side and weathered the storm. This weekend, you took it one step further, stood in front of me, rolled up your sleeves, and brought me back from the brink once again. Back from the brink? So Milos was the brink? Is that a dig at Milos? Okay, this weekend I brought by far my best look to date. Now, I disagree with that. I'm going to show you why I disagree with that in a second. All thanks to this amazing woman. Through all the criticisms and doubt, you showed the world why I always have said you are the best of me, the best of us. Thank you so much once again for being my rock, my beating heart, and the one I call my life partner. Right. And so, okay, so he thanks Marlena before he thanks Milos publicly. Another slap in the face to Milos. And you guys notice I'm on this like weird website because he blocked me. So I got to go to this website to freaking see his shit. I mean, really, do I bother you that much, Samson? Like any other channel that discusses your conditioning issues that you had to block me? Come on. Was this high school? You block someone? All right. Now you can see a much shorter, condensed message to Milos. Now that the dust is finally settled down from the last 2 weeks, a very full and roller coaster ride, I can take the time to say thank you to this amazing gentleman for all he has done for me over the last 2.5 years. We have been through the craziest of battles and experiences together, okay? And we have both worked so hard and tirelessly to achieve the goal of becoming one of the best bodybuilders in the world, for which I will forever grateful to him. Thank you, Milos, for all you've done for me and the time you've worked together, and I wish you all the very best. Even though we're no longer working together, I always consider you my friend. I mean, he could have done that Sunday after the Arnold, Ohio. But he didn't do it. And I'm wondering if he even would have done it if he didn't get all the clap back from the fans saying, why don't you thank Milos? Why don't you post the fucking thing about Milos on Instagram? I was one of them. I was calling him out on another live reaction video I was doing, saying you need to be professional and put a post out on Instagram about you splitting with Milos. Nick Walker did it when he split up with his coach. Right? He was professional about it because he knows people are going to start speculating what's going on. Sorry, guys, I'm missing some of your. Yeah, he recorded his cardio sessions where he's on the treadmill walking with his shirt off. 30 minutes? So was he even listening to Milos and doing the hour? I'm not saying even the hour. Was he even doing an hour? I'm sure Milos was like, you got to do more. You got to suffer more. It didn't look like it. Like when you're doing like when you see Hadi Choopan doing cardio in his stories, he's on the stair mill, right? He's covered up in a hoodie, and the sweat is dripping from his face, his nose is dripping all over the phone because that's how hard he's working. You see Samson, he's just like, hey guys, good morning. Just here on the treadmill, get my cardio in, not sweating, not really suffering, and maybe relying too much on his genetics. Andrew says people have to suffer for the striations, and he doesn't want enough to suffer. Yeah, I don't. The thing is, he's never had striated glutes. Never. We're going to look at some photos here. I'm going to show you guys. Gravy says all the judges want to see is him peeled. That's all. That's all they want. Then you can become Mr. Olympia when you get peeled, Samson. Yeah. Wow. Okay. There's an opinion. Mike says, what do you expect? His pimp Fuad rubbing off on him. And I've had my opinion about Fuad too. Fuad rubs me the wrong way with his attitude, how he is on video, how he talks to people. I don't know if I'm the only one. I know there's other people that think that, but Fuad, I don't know, maybe he doesn't have fame. I don't think he's like virally famous in bodybuilding, but I think whatever his success with the supplement company, and now he's got Sam Sulek, that he thinks he's above people now. He can just say whatever he wants to say, and whatever he says is right, type of thing. So that's kind of how he rubs me the wrong way. Samson's wife has no idea. Has no idea what the heck she's doing, Roman says. Okay, then Andrew replies to Mike, says, I'm not fully disagreeing with you, but I think Fuad gets a lot of hate as much as the positivity that he's putting on. Okay. I mean, sure, yes. Fuad has done a lot for bodybuilding. He is very involved in the sport. So Samson, 12321. I'm not believing this has anything to do with Milos, Samson, or Marlena. This comes as something behind the scenes involving benefactors, sponsors, etc. But Samson, Milos, Marlena are being no, I don't believe that at all. I think Milos is being scapegoated a little bit. Roman says Milos said 3 hours of cardio needs to be done. Samson didn't listen. Samson didn't start sweating until he was on stage. That's a good one. Samson does sweat consistently. Yeah. So we got a Samson fan in here. That's great. That's great. I'm a fan of Samson too. I want to see him get peeled so he can win the Mr. Olympia. And Taking Profit says he only thanked Milos because of the backlash. Potentially it could be true. Samson, 123 it's ridiculous asking for shredded glutes like this is all there is. Samson, no, that is what there is. So stop trying to defend Samson and not having shredded glutes. He's not going to get away with it. He hasn't been able to get away with it. He's gotten very close with it. And he won the Arnold Classic against Nick Walker, who was in better condition than him. The judges let that slip, but I don't think they're going to let it slip again. So in this, the trajectory that Samson is headed right now, he's never going to win the Mr. Olympia. Not based on what he's doing now and what he's been doing over the last 3 years. It's not working. You need Samson. Samson, 12,321. He needs shredded glutes. That's part of the deal. That's what the judges expect now. Maybe that wasn't in the early 90s and 2000, but now it's what's expected. Apisha Samson did the post due to pressure from Dennis James and Chris Cormier. Sure. His conditioning was good on the last show. I'm going to talk about the last show. So yeah, thanks. Lots of comments. Thanks, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, if you're just joining us, please do it and like the video. I really appreciate it. The more likes, the better. I'm going to do more of these live reactions and be able to chat with you guys while we do it. So let's take a look. Now, again, we get kind of caught up in the moment, and then now Samson said this was his best look ever at the Arnold UK. How many of you think that this was Samson's best look ever at the Arnold UK? If not, when do you think his best look was? What show? Because I'll tell you what show I think Samson looked his best. And that show was where he was prepped and peaked by Milos. Juice Love says Arnold 23. Any other shows, any other guesses of what, or your opinion on what his best look was? I actually think his best look, now even though this is bad lighting at the shitty Olympia lighting last year, imagine this physique in better lighting. Okay. So this is 2023 Mr. Olympia. I don't care about any other photos. All I care about is the back and the glutes. And you can see here, the glutes are kind of, there's a bit of lines coming in. Okay. So this was a combination of him having fullness and conditioning. And this was at the Olympia. Then we go to the Romania show after the Olympia, where his wife Marlena peaked him. Does he look better here? His glutes have, a bit of little lines, but it doesn't look as full. And the hamstrings aren't as separated. Hamstrings here, 2023 Olympia, more separation. And fuller, but with good conditioning. Marlena, Romania Pro, hamstrings not showing as much separation, looks a little flattened out and downsized. So Marlena's peak strategy is to deplete him, low carb him, where he comes in a little flatter, but he still contains that sharpness. I prefer Milos's approach to his look. In the Romania Pro, he looked flatter. Then, what do I have here? I think I have. Then we have Milos, who peaked him for the Arnold, Ohio, 2020-24. Okay. Where this was 5 days out. Milos is helping him here. Looks pretty good. That's pretty freaky. Glutes, not bad here. They're starting to come in, and you have 5 days, and it just didn't work out. Something happens in that 5 days with Samson, and it disappears for some reason. Like, right, but they're not Hadi Chupin, they're not Derek Lunsford type glutes, though. They still haven't come in there. But you can see there's the potential for it to be if he just gets leaner, if he drops some more body fat. It's there. He can do it, guys. He can have like Ronnie Coleman style glutes if he does the work that Ronnie Coleman did, which was 2 hours. Just do 2 hours. But he won't do it for some reason. And then we have the 2024. Now it sucks because they don't freaking put photos out on NPC online of the show. They just have video. There's no photo coverage, so I got to go to the freaking video. This is 4K, so it's good quality. His glutes are not as. This is Marlena's prep, right? His glutes are not what they were even at the Ohio. But he says this is my all-time best look. I disagree with that. I think he's just kind of being nice to Marlena and being, this is my all-time best look. And that's another dig to Milos by saying, Marlena got my all-time best look. So on the day he thanks Milos for being his coach and helping him, he also slaps him in the face and said, but my wife made me my all-time best look. Again, he keeps doing it to Milos. He keeps slapping him, keeps digging at him. And sure, I guess you can do that. He has the right to do that, but it's just like the way he's doing it. Very unprofessional. I would never say that. I would just leave it be. Thanks to Marlena. Great show. Great prep. Thanks, Milos. Got me to where I am today. Appreciate you for everything you did. Don't compare. He's like comparing them. He's battling them against each other. So, and then wanted to discuss the score cards here a bit, because there was someone else was saying that it was close and that, Samson was winning in the prejudgment. No, he was never winning. Hadi was always first for the Arnold UK. A close show, in my opinion, is a 1 or 2 point show, right? 1 or 2 point spread. But Samson 18-12, that's 6 point spread. So the judges clearly had Hadi beating Samson at the Arnold UK. Samson closed the gap and came in closer because in the Arnold UK, Samson won by Hadi won by 10 points, right? So he narrowed the gap, but the judges were like, no, still clear winner, Hadi Choopan. It's not even questionable here. It's questionable when there's 1 or 2 points between the two of them. And you can see between Akeem Williams and John De La Rosa, Akeem had 34, John had 36. That's a 2 point spread. That's very close. That's like, some judges has Akeem first, some judges have John first, right? So it wasn't close, right? And so Samson's still that far away from trying to beat former Mr. Olympia champion to try and get Derek Lunsford, take him out. You got Nick Walker coming up now. Yeah, you could have Tabani, Behruz Tabani coming in if he ever gets his visa. So that's it, guys. 48 minutes. I usually try to keep these around half an hour. Again, please subscribe. Please like the video. I appreciate this. You guys joining me with this. It's a lot of fun to go through the news. I know bodybuilding can be kind of boring sometimes, so it's nice to discuss these things and get a different take on it. And shoot the shit with you guys. Douglas, he can't help but to show his true stripes no matter how he attempts to qualify his feelings. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. And my fear is that Samson Dauda is reached his peak, right? Because look what they tried to do for him for their Arnold UK. They said, okay, the judges want him more conditioned, and judges want him more conditioned. This one, yeah, you can watch this. So this is the look that they brought to the Arnold UK, where as soon as he came out, I knew that he was downsized. I knew the quads were smaller. They were deflated more. He looked a bit sharper and a bit drier, but in doing that, they sacrificed his fullness and he became flat. Look at the obliques in the side tricep. Look at the abs. It's flat. It's not popping because he's not full, bursting through the skin, which is what Milos does for him, right? The quads look a little flat and they're kind of like, there's some feathers and striations in there, but they're not bursting full, crazy vascularity, right? And so it's like, if this is what they tried to do to bring him in better conditioning, But look at right there. Look at his legs. They're thinner. They're small. He didn't look big standing next to Hadi anymore. Right? He lost that fullness. And so maybe that's what they're afraid of. They're like, well, we can't bring him shredded because we do. He looks kind of thin and stringy and flattened out. So that's why we don't have him doing 2 hours of cardio. Then that's what I'm like, if you guys can't figure it out, then where does he go from here? I'm like, he's going to have 6 months, 7 months to, go back to the off season. Maybe I don't think he needs to get any bigger. I think he just needs to stay very lean leading into the Olympia. And right there, you see there's no glutes in that back lat spread. There's just, and I hate to always talk about the glutes, but that's the one missing component from his physique. He would dominate the sport if he could bring in the shredded glutes, like all the other Mr. Olympias have done. All the other Mr. Olympias have always had shredded glutes, except this guy. And now his waistline, there's an issue there too. So I'm just like, where does he go from here? Sure, he can win pro shows. Easy money for Samson. That's probably why he does it, because he knows you can't touch me on the pro, the other pro shows. But when it comes to the Arnold and the Olympia, he won one Arnold. Maybe he got a little passed by the judges there because he has such a good physique. But he came back to the Arnold, went up against a guy that was better conditioned to him, just like he did to Nick Walker, and thought, I can beat Hadi. I beat Nick Walker last time. He was in better condition than me. The judge was like, no, not this time. We thought you would improve, Samson. We thought you would come back, have the shredded glutes, and finally get it right, but he didn't. So it's a little bit worrisome to think, is this the peak for Samson? What do you guys think? Do you think is this the end of the road for Samson? If he's had 13 shows last year, 13 shows, and he can't bring in the backside, the hamstrings, the glutes, even the lower back tightness. Do you think Samson can win the Mr. Olympia now? After you've seen the best that he thinks he can bring right now was the UK Arnold, judging by the post you just made today. Try to read your comments. Sorry, guys. Douglas, Walker will put foot in Samson at the O. I think Nick Walker can beat, and I'm not the biggest fan of Nick Walker. I'm hard on Nick Walker too, about his midsection and the thickness and the density that he has built up in his midsection. But I think Nick Walker now stands a chance at beating Samson Dauda for sure. His midsection is more of an issue than his glutes. Yes, you could be right there because the judges did point out, Tyler Mannion did point out in his critiques of Samson that he's having trouble with his breathing, which I don't think it's his breathing. I just think it's, well, you know what? He's able to do the vacuum though now. He's able to do the vacuum in the ab and thigh pose. He's able to do the vacuum in the front double bicep pose. But that's about it. He can't do it in the front lat. He can't do it in the standing relaxed pose, which is weird. So again, is that laziness? Is he just not practicing enough to get those shots in? Right? You can see he's doing the vacuum there. So I don't know. Both of them are an issue. And he has two of these things going against him now. Conditioning and now his midsection. Andrew, thank you for what you do, brother. I appreciate all the content and you being 100% no matter what. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I try to not sugarcoat it. And I guess in doing that, Samson blocked me. And his wife blocked me for being so bluntly true. Although again, guys, I mean, was it bad for me to I just said, hey, your conditioning needs to improve. Right. And I can see there's a bit of a gyno issue there. And then that's all it took for them to block me, I guess. Matt W. Marlena is pimping Samson. Yes, I love these comments. Yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going on there? I'm not going to get into that, but that's a funny comment. I think Samson should go get the guy. Yes, you're right. He needs to get it. Akeem, I think Akeem got it done. You can see Akeem, there's a bit of a hole in his nipple area now because he got the gyno removed. So some scar damage in there. But it looks fine now. Got it removed. That's part of the process, right? Get the damn surgery done, Samson. You can see right there when he does the ab and thigh, there's a gyno around his nipples there. Very evident. It's another eyesore. But I do agree, Samson should get the gyno fixed. Yeah, that's your opinion, Sorjay. That is your free and fair opinion. Mass Rico, he needs fish and vegetables with 2 hours of cardio like Kevin Bro did. Well, maybe, we don't know. At least Nick Walker understands he needs to work on his mid. Yes, he does. We'll see if Nick has improved his midsection and front lat spread. Yeah, good point. Nick is making the adjustments. I think Nick needs to learn how to do a vacuum because now who in the top 3 can do vacuums? Derek Lunsford, Hadi Shupan. Now even Samson can do it. Can Nick Walker do a vacuum? Because that seems to be the trend that the judges, seem to be going in, where they want to see that vacuum. I don't know if they're calling for it, but they seem to like it. They like that Derek Lunsford does it. Hadi's been really pushing it. He pushed it hard in the UK. He was sucking that thing in. He doesn't open bodybuilders never used to do that. Right? Did Ronnie Coleman do the vacuum? Did Phil Heath, Sean Roden, Dexter Jackson do the vacuum? No, they couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. But now that seems to be the trend because classic physique is taken off. Taking profit, the battle for 1 and 2 is going to be between Derek and Hadi. I agree. The next couple of years, anyways. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, maybe that's why he doesn't diet all the way down. The gyno would be even more worse. No, I think he's trying to do what he can do, but it's just not enough. He definitely needs to get the gyno fixed. It's not going away. Yes, if Nick Walker could do a vacuum, lights out. That adds a whole nother element to his physique and improves his aesthetics. So I challenged him. I wrote it because Nick Walker's been trolling Tony O'Burton. Whenever Tony will post a video or something, Nick Walker's like, "Are you even flexing?" Like, it's funny what they're doing. And I said, well, Tony, you should challenge Nick Walker to a vacuum pose, at the New York Pro when you're doing the ab and thigh, pull in that vacuum. So, wow, still lots of viewers on here. So I'm trying to keep it going, guys, because I really appreciate you. And they kind of went over a few more things in the video. Where the cardio. They talk about Brandon Curry a little bit, but I think we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Samson and Milos. No more. It's probably one of the last updates I'll do on Samson and Milos, unless there's more that's revealed after this. But where does Samson go from here? Who does he choose as his coach? I'm a little worried for whoever becomes his coach, because they're in for a lot, especially with Marlena by Samson's side all the time, never letting him out of her eyesight. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe the issue is, I don't know. Like, why does she feel the need to have to peak him? Let the coach do that. Because then she may be telling him things. Well, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do this. This could be like way before the peak. This is just during the prep. But like, you don't need to do that. You just do 30 minutes of cardio. You don't need to do the hour. You don't do the 2. I know Milos is telling you to do 2 hours. Just do a half hour. You're good. Okay, wife. I guess so. I trust you. Maybe that's what's going on. Because that's his wife. He's got to be like respectful. Be like, okay, I trust you. You see me every day up close and personal. Jamie, he's always had a big head, right? I've seen people mention GH, but a giant head. I think Samson's always had a big head. Even when he was younger, like before he was huge, he's had like big temples, right? You can see his temples are big. And yeah, GH does make everything grow, so your head does get a little bigger on GH. All right. Okay, guys, we're over an hour. I want to keep it short. Appreciate you guys. And we will be doing more of these live streams, reactions. I love doing them with you. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Please like the video. And I guys will catch you on the next one. Peace.